same mentality going into the loser's bracket in his first match as well.
Yeah, he looked upset yesterday. But we get underway on Border, a map, like we just said, Empire 6-2 to end on yesterday. So a little bit of VOD work for Penta to have done in the past if they were, I guess, forethoughtful enough to watch all of Empire's VOD.
Very likely.
I'm sure they would have
They're a pro
the
team.
grand final, thinking that they would be there. But
good point.
Now you got to do it in the losers bracket final to just give yourself a shot at redemption against the Vodafone Giants.
Well, after that match that Penta just had against Glaz, no surprise to see him banning there. But that means Lion's on the board, a rare thing to have here. So definitely going to be interesting on this particular map. Yin getting banned, no surprise there, but it is, again, surprising to not see Lion get banned. So that should be interesting here because definitely a heck of a match. Now, last time when Empire played End, both Lion and Glaz were banned, so the one difference here is Ying being banned. But we'll see. Most likely Echo is the last one, but no. That should be interesting here. I mean, this is not necessarily the map where those black eyes are the strongest, but definitely still a good ban there coming out.
Yeah, leaving Lion open is pretty dangerous for Empire's attacking side. They'll start out on defense, so maybe Penta can take advantage early on. It looks like Sir Boss is already jumping on that ASAP. Yep,
joystick on Jaeger, no surprise there.
No shocking factor there at all with joystick on Jaeger. But for Empire on their attacks, we've noted over the 3 games I think we've seen from them, very rigid operator lineup, and they all play very simplistic roles. Not a lot of depth in the utility, basically point-and-click operators.
Well, I mean, they're just playing kind of a frag game as a team. I mean, it seems to work out for them for the most part, so I certainly can't fault them for it, especially the way joystick kind of ends up as the spear tip of that.
Yeah, you throw a line in that mix as well, and
geez,
looks like Empire might be going duck hunting
on
their attacking side.
Penta does have that advantage first, though. They could rack up quite a number of points taking advantage of that before its side switches. So, again, yeah, this is what they were talking about. You need to hunt down joystick first. I mean, he has an okay Ash play on his attacks, but by far his Jaeger defenses are really the sticking point. Now, we did actually have a sneaky 6 pick there over to Clash, and Panix is to be playing Mavericks. We're going to see both the new ops in this match. That should be interesting. We had Panix yesterday talking about how he uses Maverick to either open up some interesting lines of sight or just to kind of mess with the other team, leave them very uncomfortable. On this map in particular, I think that could be interesting to see. I mean, assuming he lives far enough getting into the map to be able to pull it off, because Maverick doesn't really give you anything special in terms of entry, so he's going to need some people to either drone for him or entry for him first, but at least the line will make it a little bit safer, potentially, while he's doing that blowtorch action.
And it is joystick on a solo roam currently down inside of Workshop. And
what a surprise.
I don't imagine he'll stay in Workshop very long. He's a very sly maneuvering roamer on defense, and Panic's taking damage, I think, from a teammate. There was...
Whatever it was, not a good start for him.
I didn't think there was anyone even remotely close to engaging, but looks like Penta are going to try and initiate a rush straight in. Panic's walking straight into Fountain through the barbed wire, spotting the clash. That's to slow him down. The EOD detonates. It's going to hold the defenders in place as they get spotted. Shepard backs off deep into Fountain alone. No support, but he's got a defender flanking down main hallway. It's Joystick who's come upstairs, firing in, and will get his first kill of the matchup. Drop down to about 2 HP, though. Revan will fall. That's only the IQ off. They still have the breach if Penta want to back off and try and go for a more standard take.
Absolutely. The 6th pick of the Clash here is really thrown off this rush attempt because they were ready to just make some action happen, but Clash seeing them first completely tore that apart, and now they've lost their IQ, so that means some utility loss as well. If they can start to open this up, that is going to start putting a lot of hurt. But they saw the hole first. Now it's going to be a whack-a-mole game here of who can use the hole fastest, and unfortunately it's Scyther right as he goes to open another one. Huge advantage here for Team Empire despite Joystick being low on health.
It was Penta trying to start things off and set the tone of the match. You obviously saw in that interview, Panic said he was pissed, and they try and set the tone and put Empire on their back foot early, and it has not worked out so far. You've got Joystick significantly low on HP, but other than that, it's an all-out failure so far for Penta for actually acquiring any kind of sight control. Yeah,
not only with the Clash still alive, but the Echo as well. Fortunately, they did manage to take down Joystick. He is one who can frag out with low health, but good on Hungry, who's actually lost a good chunk himself. So second E1D getting popped off. Now that means no more real utility left except for maybe possibly a grenade from Hungry. So it's down to just trying to pressure sight right now. I don't think this is going to work for Penta.
Empire playing very reserved right now, not trying to overcommit themselves to any risky situations or angles. Still, so many ADSs being utilized to burn all the utility that Penta are trying to drop in here. And Shepard, this is much more of what we wanted to see from him yesterday on the Clash play, which is heavy engagement, a big distraction. Scyther's going to drop Sir Boss inside of Fountain and get traded out now. He's down, and Shock will clean it. It's all up to enemy now. The Thermite alone behind Radio Desk, looking through Panix's previous Maverick holes. Shepard pressing up inside of Fountain on his flank. He's got to worry about the holes. He's being slowed by the Clash shield. Not a lot enemy can do here, throwing one last flashbang in vain as it will temporarily blind Shepard, but there's no time. He's got nowhere to go, no entry in. Scyther still hasn't even been cleaned up yet. Pretty much over here, but Karzeka will fall. It's down to a technical 1v2. Only 2 seconds remaining. Shepard finally will whip out the machine pistol. Empire going to take round number 1. And Panix and Penta with that rush just getting a little bit ahead of themselves.
I mean, I don't think they knew it was going to be coming when they 6-picked to that Clash, but that absolutely ended up being a perfect counter because first off, spotting them and completely stopping that rush, they were pretty much just throwing everything they could at that point, and Shepard just could not be touched. Looked kind of similar to what we saw from Drid on that Monty in that last matchup. Just well played by Empire. I can't imagine that's going to happen again here, but certainly a good start for Empire, just completely decimating Penta, who pretty much cut their own legs off with that rush there, not to mention the initial damage onto Panix. Unfortunately, those holes as well kind of work against him. You saw the Maestro even trying to peek through those with the ACOG. So, Ventilation Room Workshop, though, going to be where they go next. No surprise there. This is pretty much standard bomb site rotation. We'll see where the third bomb site ends up being if they win this one. If not, you could try vents again before rotating back to lockers. Nothing too crazy this time. Now, pretty much the same lineups except for no 6th pick to the Clash this time. We'll see how that roam's going to be for Joystick. I imagine he's going to roam upstairs rather than down.
Yeah, I expect Joystick to kind of be the forgotten flank every single time, and that's what we saw a lot, especially on Border against End, is even on a map like Border, where the flanking potential isn't quite there. You've got 2 staircases to get upstairs. After that, like there's no way else to get up, and there's a lot of purview you can acquire as an attacker from either the waiting room balcony windows. You want to go up onto the roof and look down through the hole in the map down to waiting room. So many windows and angles in crossfires, so many soft walls. Like, maneuverability on Border as a roamer is not a strong suit, and
there's
yet
a lot of choke points.
Still makes it work. Yeah,
I think he definitely will again. I mean, it seems like he is very confident in the map control that they do have. Maybe he's just got really good headphones. He's got that sound down in terms of picking out where they're coming for him. But you never know, maybe Maverick will be something that catches him off guard if he's depending on sound to try and peek through a little hole. But he's actually going to be playing just above sight here. So this is not a surprise to see him in this particular area, but like you said, he stays very mobile. He is already just looking for some drones to try and come and pressure him first. He's one of those kind of roamers that will wait for drones, shoot the drone, and then maneuver off to try and take advantage, kind of ambush whoever's going to pressure off of that. Fortunately, Panix could not turn that hole into a kill there, and Joystick will looking to use it against him.
Like you talked about Panix with his Maverick play, it looks like he's just trying to distract Joystick long enough to go for a rotate or maybe acquire some help in dispatching of Joystick as the rest of Penta are pushing in from the top of these stairs. Ooh, a Yokai drone being spotted out now by the IQ of Revan. It looked like he was hitting some metal bars earlier on. I think he was able to get it though.
Yeah, he left it, so I would imagine.
Is that not it still there in the hallway?
Definitely possible.
I'm not
He
sure.
might have just gave up on it.
Yeah.
Either way, a lot of peek holes being set up here. That's Shockwave definitely setting up something to kind of keep them busy and maybe even peek through it if he needs to. Could use it for a recharge as he pretty much downed. Well played by Shockwave. Hungry. That is why you have the grenades on your gun. That was a big mistake in utility usage, and that's why you don't do that.
Lots of shots going back and forth, but Shockwave with another one onto enemy through the soft wall inside of Tellers. Panix opening up some more Maverick holes in the ceiling above bathroom. First EOD going out, but Shockwave with a third takes down Revan. We're all lining up for him right now as he's inside of the customs doorway. Joystick peeking out and through the Maverick hole to Radio Desk. It's a non-stop onslaught right now for Empire, as it's Sir Boss alone in a 1v5. The breach charge just sitting on that castle barricade. Can't trigger it. It's going to vault into another castle barricade. It's Shockwave firing back through the Teller's wall again. trying to pick up a 4K on the round. The hatch above him will explode into smithereens. There's too many angles. He detonates the EOD, but Karzeka will pick up the kill to round out round number 2. It's a 2-0 lead for Empire and a complete decimation of Penta through 2 rounds.
I'm starting to think Panics might want to give up on playing Maverick. The way he's playing it is absolutely not working against Empire. Seems to be working far more against him than for him. Now's the time to make that change after you've seen it over 2 rounds. Maybe tease it and then 6th pick off of it, but it is clearly not working. So many plays from Shockwave as well that round. 3K, nearly just 1-man army downstairs. So far, Empire looking like they're trying to show that they're the ones who should be in Pro League. Penta off to a really rough start here.
I'm very surprised seeing how much we talked about Empire's map pool yesterday, how they like these kind of run and gun maps where fragging is more of a priority than coordination versus a consulate. Still need to be coordinated on Border, but it's not as much of a priority. I'm impressed that Border made it through the ban phase on Penta's behalf. That's a weird one for me. We've seen them be good on Coastline and Border. I figured Border would probably be the priority ban for Penta.
Well, any Pro League team really needs a good Border because it's such a common map. I got to imagine Penta were confident in their Border, and they got to see Empire play on it, so they had the foreknowledge of how it's played. So, yeah, I can understand your point, but I think that more the mentality was, we've seen it, we can beat them on it, we have a good Border as well, no problem. Now they're going to be rethinking that, and I think we're getting close to a tactical timeout from Penta, the way things are sliding so far, if the bleeding continues through this round. However, this is Customs now. This is the hardest one to defend without the beer, which is going to be banned. So this is the one bomb site where Penta should be able to bring it back. If they can't, I worry that they're going to just let the entire map slip right out of their fingers.
Yeah, we've seen through the weekend that Empire's defenses have been their mainstay, the bulletproof camera on the reinforcement. I saw this from them yesterday as well against End. Similar tactics coming out, so like you said, if Penta were watching the VODs and brought some notes, maybe just clocking some things in the back of their mind.
I gotta imagine that Evil Eye would be a little bit better because you could look both ways down that L hallway, although not if Maestro's dead, as opposed to a bulletproof camera. So it does surprise me that they don't even go with Maestro.
Yeah. Joystick, the ever-present roaming force that is quite dominant on all of his Jaeger play, and yeah, Empire's defenses have been strong. Their attacks, though, have been just as strong. It was really just the attacks on Consulate against the Vodafone Giants that was an issue. Everything else yesterday, both sides of the game, Empire looked pretty flawless.
And that's where I think the rest of the team shines a bit more, because Joystick generally only would get 1 kill before he would take it down as the entry Ash. So it's definitely the defense where he gets to shine, and the rest of the team on attack. But the way things are going so far, there's a chance we might only even see 1 attack round from them if Penta can't pick this back up. So a lot of peeking through holes here. Again, questioning the Maverick play from Panics. He's going to have to be a little bit smarter about it or just stop playing it. They are at least getting some map control to try to pressure towards the site and get some intel on Gadget Plane here. Scyther actually in a good position to try and counter that fairly soon here if he goes through this hallway, but risky, but he's got the ACOG to help.
It's a double hold topside for Karzeka and Shockwave currently as they're dealing with 1 attacker just hungry outside of the break door. The first EOD will detonate as the other 4 attackers are all on the main floor trying to rush into sight, but Karzeka will shut it down from the hatch. Enemy falls, it's diffuser lost in sight. That's your 1 main breacher taken down. Scyther taking a little bit of damage from long down the hallway, but Shockwave with another one onto Panics. This entry into the top floor and trying to go through sight, not going well for Penta so far.
Now they've lost their only hard breacher. That means they can't get into... Sir Boss, what are you doing? This is falling apart. The tilt factor must be so high as Joystick finishes off his buddy. And now it's down to Revan. Good luck.
Revan trying to press through the bottom of Metal, coming in the back of Customs. Got 1 inside the small closet. He'll drop Shepard. Another re-peek, and Scyther will follow consecutively. More peeks coming from the main lobby in the waiting room. You still have hatch control, and Shockwave locks it down. It's a 3-0 lead for Empire. They're never ending. It's relentless pressure brought upon Penta right now, and they are crumbling beneath it.
This is, if I'm Penta, this is where I call that tactical timeout. Before it gets so deep you can't recover it, you really need to start thinking, what are we doing that is just getting demolished every single time? Empire are playing top form here. So, and I got to imagine the change here to this camera means we are going to get that tactical timeout. So that is the time to call it, right? You don't want to bleed too far before you start to stop and go, okay, guys, what is happening here? We should not be getting demolished like this. And yes, it is Penta calling tactical, so
Yeah, I'm not even remotely shocked. You can see the faces, the dejection, and
oh man,
just loss of enthusiasm. I mean, they already went in a little bit on tilt, like Panic said, and you could see it from that first round, the rush, and both rounds after that, really. There's a lot of site-centric focus. There's not a lot of priority towards clearing out the opposite side of the map from the objective, where there's always someone holding. It was a solo attempt in round number 2 from Panix as the Maverick to try and remove Joystick in his armory play. He wasn't doing anything. Usually Joystick is very animated in his movements and maneuvering around the map, and he was so content to stay isolated behind half wall, and yet Panic still walks into it.
Honestly, I feel like the way Empire are playing on defense, they're like this giant web of crossfires.
Yeah.
They're set up, spread out just enough from each other that no matter where Penta walks into, there's 1 to 2 players of Empire ready to peek you at that moment. I'm not sure if they're just playing really smart game in terms of good comms to know where they're at, but the way they're setting up this giant web crossfire, sometimes across 2 floors, seems to be just impenetrable by Penta. They can maybe get 1-2 kills, but the web closes on them as the amount of players on Penta starts to dwindle down, and it just does not seem like they're able to get the picks to start to take and dismantle the web of crossfires. But Lockers again, which is really the best bomb site, so not looking good at all for Penta to bring this back. Hopefully that tactical timeout helped. And of course Shepard, it worked last time, might as well try it again.
So Panic's in preparation. Maybe a little bit of Sixth Sense going on there, but choice. He's bringing the Capitao, thankfully, as
finally.
Last time around when defending this objective on the first round, it was Empire and Shepard specifically just sitting in Fountain. He's got no pressure.
Hey,
there's no one coming for him. You saw, I think it was Enemy on Thermite in the first round. He's just throwing flashbangs at the Clash like it's going to do anything.
I don't know, he was hoping for something to happen out of it. Yeah, that was desperation already in the first round, yeah. Well, I'm glad to see Panic get off Maverick, though. I hope the tactical timeout helped in terms of making that call, thinking what they got to do. And like you said, a little premonition in terms of the Clash coming out as a 6th pick again, because, again, for anyone who doesn't know, Capitao is the best counter at the moment for Clash. We'll see, though, if the same kind of situation happens here. I got to imagine Penta might not go for the same push that they did previously. They might go instead for a normal Armory Lockers push onto the wall with that Thermite. See if Panix lives long enough to get good use out of his fire crossbow bolts.
I really don't think that tilt factor, though, can be understated right now for Penta. So you're already down 2-0, you're losing the 3rd round, and then a TK comes out to put you just in deeper and deeper into the hole.
I almost want to call them tilt kills instead of team kills, because they're very often indicative of that. It makes me think of Fnatic when it comes to Atlantic City. That was an example of TK's really being a tilt factor sort of thing in that match against Liquid.
Same with a little bit in the Paris group stage as well. There were games where they were up multiple rounds. That's not even the case here for Penta, but Fnatic were up multiple rounds and just kind of threw it away as the game went on.
Well, with the best of 1 here, you cannot afford to let tilt get the best of you, because you don't get that map sort of mental reset that we've heard, for example, Fabian talking about when it comes to best of 3s and things like that. They are starting to make some progress and starting to get things open here, but no kills out for Empire yet. And that's probably the best we could say for Penta so far, is the fact that no one's died a minute into the round.
Joystick obviously a focus here for Penta to try and remove, and currently he's over by detention, putting open the supply room window.
That's going to pay off later on.
Yeah, Hungry was already there outside the front door opening up the floorboards, but he's long since departed his station at the front door, and he's gone over to AC, the same spot where he got a kill in the first round, but he hasn't really shown up on the scoreboard since. Well,
at least they've made enough progress in terms of opening up the important wall here. Unfortunately for them, look who's hanging out on the other side of it. This is where Panix needs to make the right play at the right time. Joystick getting a little greedy, trying to run outside, but no one, as I was going to say, no one there to punish him. Hungry on top of it, well played. That is probably the best play we've seen so far in this matchup by Penta.
Well, explosive impact coming up through the floor, the ventilation window right behind half wall to try and dissuade Shepard from remaining on that position behind the half wall, although he's doing a very good job right against the Lockers right now. A second kill for Penta as it's Hungry's Claymore. Here come the asphyxiating bolts, locking Shepard in place and taking so much damage. He'll get down and finished off. It's finally a huge man advantage for Penta, but we saw Empire come back from this exact situation yesterday on border against End. A 2v5 comeback with Karzeka picking up an ace. The smoke canisters going through the wall to make sure that no one can come in and go for a quick plant on the reinforcement. There's 30 seconds remaining, and Karzeka is going to try and relocate. He tries to take an aggressive angle towards the attacker. Oh, on ADS is at the most improper time. Now the second EOD will come out. All the smoke bolts coming in. Enemy going to be dropping the plant. Scyther grabs one on the Sirboss as he was going for a flank. A second one for Karzeka with the shotgun as Hungary will fall. Down to a 2v3. The plant gets completed though as Scyther's Echo drone just moments behind. They'll all evacuate to CCTV, and Karzeka is going to have to go and try and... He doesn't have any more smoke canisters to try and throw off the visibility of the diffuser. Scyther gets down and finished off by Revan as he's gone for the rappel. There's no way Karzeka can hit that shot with the SMG-11. He's got nowhere to go. Retreating back into the small office. Revan will finish it off, and Penta finally have some success on the board. Still down 3-1.
Well, it was like we said, kill joystick first, you win the round. And that was definitely the case there, although it was definitely a little bit of luck in terms of Hungry being at the right place at the right time, although joystick also got a little too greedy. But Panix doing what we needed him to be doing after what happened the first round. Great to see that turnaround. Well played. Scyther, I think, had some good kills there, as well as Karzeka, but the two plant denial operators both being alive at the end of the round, yet not denying the plant, definitely seemed like a big slip up on their part. Although, to be fair, they were getting some kills in the meantime. So far, though, that is definitely a perfect example of where a tactical timeout works out in the favor of a team. Penta now looking like they're finally playing the game they should have been playing since round one.
Yeah. I still like this Capitao pick, even though there's no clash being brought out.
Almost always useful. That's why it's such a mainstay now of a lot of teams in Pro League.
The biggest thing is that they know joystick is always going to be rocking a Jaeger, so there's always going to be ADSs, so don't even risk it by bringing smoke grenades that can be caught out.
That's a very good point. Yeah, he is in a good position to be able to deal with what joystick has set up. I mean, obviously you've got operators like Thermite who've got flashbangs they probably don't need to be able to just chuck in and burn those ADSs, but yeah, good point. Joystick is not going to play anything else because honestly he doesn't need to.
You got to even, like, I don't know, the question, like, we talked about the Valkyrie cameras not being all that great on border as far as a ban. Do you, I mean, we've seen it a couple times before in other leagues and stuff. We haven't really seen it in Pro League a lot, but the banning of Jaeger, I think we've only seen it once or twice early on.
I think twice in Pro League so far, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it was always interesting when it happened. I feel like, and then you start playing Sledge and Buck and everyone else with grenades. Just it's definitely a thing that can happen there. Although in this case, I almost do wonder if it would be worth banning Jaeger, literally just disable joystick.
For joystick, you know.
I mean, you can ban Ash too, but like I said, I don't think his Ash is nearly as strong as his Jaeger has been.
No, his Ash has been getting shut down intermittently throughout the weekend.
That's honestly the norm for the way he plays it.
Yes. But the Jaeger play is just so dominant. It's omnipresent. There's never any escaping it. And, you know, usually you don't want to target ban one person. There's Hungary who gets target banned the Ying a lot of the time, which also Penta actually banned out the Ying. That's surprising. I didn't actually realize that in the ban phase. That was the order it went.
Yeah, well, you know, I think he just gave up. I mean, you had Sirboss even playing it earlier instead of him.
Yeah.
It's just like, he's like, you know what? It's just going to get target banned against me. I need to move on. Instead, he's been playing a lot of Zofia and then Smoke on defense, so he seems to have found his new mains. Unfortunately, there goes a drone down, but it got the information to know whether or not they could do this. Good use of the EE1D to lock that down. Joystick is going to be still playing aggressively on here, though, but it's probably better than him trying to run out. Although he still might, you never know.
He's looking to take a gunfight. He does not want to play reserve. He's behind the half wall. He takes down another drone. He's wary of a peek from the window, but he's also got one on his hard right of the breached open wall. And it looks like it's going to be the peak now. The flashbang's being caught out as enemy takes a lot of damage, being flanked now from two inside of Archives. There's just a myriad of bullets, and it'll be Sirboss's V308 to close out Joystick. Finally, this is the collapse they needed upon Joystick. It's not just Panix going in solo.
That was great the way they pinched it out from both sides. Unfortunately, that's only one member of Team Empire dead, as well as a bit of damage here on Karzeka, but still, nonetheless, a great pinch upstairs. Clearing that out quickly is his primary objective. Leaves them in a good position to attack the actual objective, but still, it is going to be a bit of a fight over the last minute here. Enemy and Sirboss both at low health as well. I have a feeling we're going to see at least one of them fall within the next 10 to 20 seconds.
Time waning away for Penta as they need to mount some sort of attack onto the objective, where they're more concerned with their health, as enemy will get reset back to 50 after jumping off the rooftops. Revan going for a slow rotate towards the front door, and he might come to blows with Shockwave inside a supply room currently. Spraying in through actually the supply room wall, and all of Penta are going for a full rotate for a B plant inside of ventilation. It's dangerous as Shockwave rips open the window but turns away. Revan, very wary of that, immediately snapped on but missed the shot on Shockwave as he backed off. The second EOD going out as they vault into ventilation to hold him in place. Shepard's Toxic Babe will remove enemy from play. That's the diffuser lost inside vent. Another one jumps in and Sir Boss will take down Karzeka now. 10 seconds left. They're trying to use the Yokais to stall it out. Revan looking skyward for it but can't locate it. Shepard rushing in with the shotgun, turns the corner and blasts him away. Revan's down. It's just Hungry rushing in now as Sir Boss grabs one. Another one down, and Shepard will close it out with the shotgun. It's a 4-1 lead for Empire as they head to the attack.
Definitely not the outcome anyone expected, much like the previous match. Penta just not looking like they know how to deal with the actual push on the bomb site. It was just, I mean, I appreciate the reset happening, but I feel like with the amount of times I've seen reset players be the first to die immediately after, it doesn't seem like it's worth it in such a time crunch when there's so many players on Empire left, because time was not working out in their favor. You saw the desperation as they started to push too aggressively into the B site without at least getting a pick or two first or trying to put some pressure on the rest of the site to keep them busy. They could completely focus, but great shotgun play as well from the smoke in terms of stopping them. Speaking of stopping them, Empire not being stopped whatsoever here. Revan actually going to switch over to Pulse here. Definitely a good idea to play for Armory Lockers Archives if he can stay alive downstairs. Joystick going to be going that aggressive push in again. I got to imagine he's going to be pushing into offices most of the time. It seems to be his MO to do so. So hopefully Penta know that and are prepared to defend against it, because there might only be 2 rounds left in this game.
A Lion passes through, and somehow Penta still head to their defense, a 4-1 deficit at their hands to try and pull back out of. Just a reminder that there are no draws in this best-of-1 format. If by some miracle Penta can bring this back and turn it to a 5-5, we'll head to a 3-round overtime.
I don't think we'll see an overtime in this match either. I think the finals is where we're only going to see an overtime. I'm not writing Penta off yet, but nonetheless, they are very close to being out of this already, and they're going to have to come up with a streak that I don't think Empire are willing to give them.
Already utilized the tack timeout earlier on at the 3-0 deficit. And
yeah. I think if Empire starts losing rounds, they're just going to pull their tactical timeout as well.
Yeah. I'm very worried here for Penta, missing a reinforcement on the wall for Armory. I guess Penta have some other strategies. They have the bottom portion of that soft wall beside the reinforcement blasted open as well. Interesting setups. They might be, I mean, we talk about pro teams not wanting to develop all their strats early on. Could this be a case of Penta not wanting to give anything away? Like, I don't think Panics would be pissed off if they weren't trying their hardest in this tournament. So I'm thinking maybe they're risking other EU, maybe Pro League play days at this point by demonstrating what they have here, because they're going all in now. Especially
if it doesn't work, then that's going to show a lot of the weaknesses of it to other teams. Joystick actually going with a different approach here. Now, unfortunately for him, Revan is not actually playing downstairs like most Pulses will. For whatever reason, he is playing upstairs in the Armory Lockers area, so he's going to be hanging out just completely not exposed. Joystick's control of the bottom floor is great, but it's not leading to any initial kills. But look at this, he doesn't need drones. He's a one-man clearing situation. Was he just looking for the breaching round kill? What was that? That was the greediest play we've seen yet from Joystick. I mean, I love it. I gotta imagine he catches someone on drone or like on cams or something like that, and then just breach round kills them. Joystick.
Would have been a clip for the ages if he managed it. EOD going out as Trip Wall's going to get opened up. Ash charges right below enemies. Takes a lot of damage. Detected by the EOD, but the bullet's just missing. Enemy somehow escaping as he's crawling away. Scyther will take down his teammate and Sir Boss, though. That's the Maestro down early. A horrible defender to lose at this point for Penta. Docking back up. Enemy looking down below for Joystick, but he's already relocated. Panic's trying to hold his radio window for him, and the Habana hole not big enough for anyone to entry through, so the defenders inside of office currently safe. But enemy, as he gets down to about 1 HP, will drop Scyther. More flashbangs running in as the second EOD goes out, and it's just a bloodbath inside of office.
Well, definitely enemy making good use of his Doc Stim pistols. Unfortunately, doesn't pay off at the end because Joystick gets his revenge, finishes the job there, and now it's down to a 4v2. They have lost a lot of important players in terms of the Doc and the Maestro were both the 2 ACOG players, so now it's going to be close-range fights. Smoke of Hungary is going to have to do a real top-notch job to hold this off, especially with an E1D left, but Panic's actually bringing it in first, securing Fountain for as long as he can.
They had no idea he was prone inside of the fountain, and now Karzeka is going to get caught off guard by Panics as well. Captain trying to solo play this back into a victory here for Penta. They're up 3v2, 15 seconds remaining as Shepard is solo pushing in on the opposite side of the reinforced wall. Panics going for 3, but running out of ammo. Shepard wins out the engagement, but they have to rush the objective. Shock is already in the back of Archives, initiating the plant. The Nitro Cell from below will take down the wrong attacker. The plant's going to get completed, but no, the Russian from Hungary will save Penta from match point. A 4-2 game as Penta slowly worked their way back. In a close round, they almost lost.
Well, unfortunately for them, that also means they have to change bomb sites. Now, if this is their primary bomb site, that means that the other bomb site's a little bit weaker for them. Not sure if Hungary's just getting a little bored and doesn't feel like holding down F for long enough or what, but he does slip off the diffuser for a second there. But either way, a good comeback there at the end. I got to give a lot of credit to Panics as well for winning his 2 fights, because I feel like that was critical to them being able to hold that out and put enough pressure in. But also Revan making good use of his C4. Sure, it wasn't on the planter, but it did take care of who was covering the planter, giving an opportunity for them to come around and get the kill onto Havana right as he came off the diffuser. Revan, nice job there. He did actually end up playing downstairs, which is funny. I was talking about early in the round he wasn't the pulse downstairs. No, he was a late game downstairs pulse. Nice job. Hopefully they can hold ventilation room off as well, or as you said, it ends up on match point.
Well, I think that was a good example of Penta using their VOD work to their advantage. You talked about how Joystick likes going in for that solo entry, and the first thing we saw was Joystick running around downstairs. Yeah. So maybe that came out in the VODs against End. I don't remember specifically what Joystick's entry path.
I definitely remember him going in offices a lot.
Yeah.
But in this case, yeah, he definitely changed it up, went downstairs. But yeah, he's always the solo entry. I was surprised to see so few drones with him. Usually there's drones kind of leading the way, but maybe they decided most of the bottom floor was clear and he was just manually face checking the rest of it. He's a brave one like that, but he does tend to die fairly early. Although I wouldn't say in a useless way. It's just unfortunate for him he doesn't live longer. Either way though, he did manage to live long enough to kill the Doc last time, so kudos to him for that. We will see typical castle setup here for the downstairs vents. There is of course that line though of Shepard on, just gonna make it a bit of a problem. Now, I think with this bomb site, a lot of times it helps to have a thermite versus a Hibana, just for blowing that bathroom wall. But still, I gotta imagine we'll see Shock using that fairly effectively either way. And they also have some potential top-down play with that sledge rather than a buck, as well as probably breaching charges on Scyther.
Starting out, and again, Empire very spread out on their spawns compared to what we saw at Penta. Usually we saw 3 or 4 attackers later on when Penta started to put their attacks together. It was a very unified front moving as one unit, and Empire just do not operate that way. It's Joystick going in solo on one part, Karzeka going solo to another area, and then maybe Shockwave and Shepard will stick together because of breach and support, and then Scyther's also off doing his own thing on a different part of the map. It's very spread out attack, like you talked about that web across the entirety of the playing surface for Empire.
Yeah, we'll see if they can manage to pull it off against Penta. Penta has been a little bit turtling up to an extent. They're hoping that Empire players walk into them more so, because Empire, like we were saying, you know, they play that web. That is a case where a lot of times that web also means people could push in a little too early for their teammate to trade, and you could potentially get an ambush kill. Nice throw there, Karzeka, but does at least recover it. Looking for the intel to be able to do some damage here with those grenades, potentially, because that is usually what this drone is for. You spot the bandit, you grenade him, or maybe even grenade the batteries. The Lion trying to pressure him into one spot, unfortunately, was ill-timed. Panic's getting a nice early kill on the Joystick, who did not find a kill first. Penta starting off on the right foot here, but Sir Boss did take a lot of damage from that grenade.
Very heavy office hold here, and Sir Boss taking a lot of damage, but not finished off, and he'll back off to safety. They might even try to initiate a reset, and Panic's just going to drop off. Doesn't want to even continue the engagement. He's going to leave Sir Boss and Hungry upstairs, try and hold out the deep part of Armory, as Penta doing a good job of peeling back the layers of their defense to show even more provisions
Especially since they killed the most aggressive player on the team.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're conceding a lot of map control, but they're conceding it, you know, at the right moment. They managed to get their kill. They burned a bit of time. Sir Boss didn't die, so yeah, now's the right time to do it. Unfortunately, Shock is still alive. He's going to start to open up stuff as soon as his teammate's ready to back him up. There's Scyther trying to cover a long flank and then open up the castle barricade to clear the bathroom before they potentially expose themselves. But there is someone in the bathroom, I believe, here. So that could be a little bit of a fight coming up soon.
Looks like it's Hungry who's gone for a rotate downstairs. Either that or Hungry still upstairs. Someone else with a long weapon. It might be Enemy with a shotgun. Is it an M1014 castle? It is.
It is, yeah, the castle. That makes sense.
Playing close range behind that half wall, taking down the drone. He's only got 4 shots left, but only 1 are required to take down Shockwave. The second EOD going out, spotting him momentarily. He's being pinged from up above as Karzak will rip up the remaining ceiling he has left for safety. He goes out and gets another one with the pistol onto Scyther before finally traded out by Shepard. It's down to a 2v4 for Shepard and Karzak to work their way out of, and lining up against the bathroom wall is not going to be the game plan. As rushing in, Sir Boss will take down Karzeka. It's just Shepard trying to make his way into the back of the objective, has to retreat because of the smoke canisters. And he walks into the welcoming arms of Revan. Penta on a comeback. Only down 1 round now.
Well played by Enemy in that bathroom. That really started punishing them. Again, Joystick had died early. That's not as usually a big deal for Empire's attacks. But then the follow-up from Enemy, yeah, he died, but he really made Karzeka have to focus on him. Then the trades there, well played by him. And then, of course, the rest of the team able to collapse enough players. Sir Boss, despite his low health, did not give up his territory at all. Well played by him as well. Now they've got to go to customs, though. This is a good opportunity, as I mentioned when it was the other side, for Empire to try to turn things around. But it's surprising to see the comeback here from Penta, almost tying it up now.
1 round away from drawing even after being down 4-0. This is it's pretty monumental here from Penta to dig deep at that resiliency. And the way they looked in the first 3 rounds is not the way they've looked for the remaining of the game, that's for sure. They're
definitely changing the game here, but I feel like Empire could easily come back from this with the way they've been playing, but they have not used their tactical timeout yet. But I imagine if it goes to overtime, that might be where we see them pull that out as they decide how they want to try and close things up in that best-of-3 overtime format, which, as we said earlier, we have yet to see this tournament.
Yeah, not a single overtime round being played so far at the Euro Cup here.
For best-of-1s as well.
Yes, number of draws we see.
Yeah. I think it just goes to show map dominance in particular maps, how important map choices are in best-of-1s.
Well, lots of construction being done to the objective as customs and supply room, not your most favorable bomb site. Lots of ways for attackers to kind of just sneak in and get a plant off. You really do have to have that hatch control at all times to make sure that no one's able to come into the passport check wall and plant behind those metal detectors. And
yeah, when we saw Penta attacking it, they lost their hard breacher earlier, which meant they could not enter through the passport wall, and that's really a big part of a lot of attacks on this bomb site. So that was definitely a big deal. We'll see if Shockwave could stay alive long enough to play it smart so he doesn't end up in a similar situation here. Joystick going to be doing what Joystick does, and he's looking for any opportunities first before he goes on in, although this is almost a late entry for him. 30 seconds of the round and he's not in the building yet. What is happening here? They are scared at the moment of the last 2 rounds from Penta.
Yeah, this is a much more reserved Empire than we've seen previously in this game. I am very shocked to see them hold back so hard. You know, 45 seconds, this is kind of the clock at which they're getting in the building, and yet we're still setting up the entry of CCTV, and it's just Panics holding it. There's so many drones right now. There are 3 defenders, however, over an armory, so I'm sure they're wary of the crossfire and the rotation. The first EOD will go out as pinged out now as Karzek is going to go for the pre-fire. Panics had no chance, and all the defenders who were coming to help could not rotate either without being detected. Karzeka not going for the re-engagement with Revan either. This is dangerous as Revan could go for a run out onto Karzeka holding this window.
Yeah, it surprised me the way they're playing this. I feel like that was a little bit of a premature EE1D, but they did use it to take out Panic, so that's what matters. Now's Joystick's time, now that they have control of CCTV, to start putting serious pressure on them. Enemy actually holding a nice angle, though, from the office door right on in to CCTV break room area. Shepard does catch him, though, and that is going to be him having to move a little bit closer back to the archives area.
He's prone in the middle of the hallway, just trying to make sure he's not being spotted out by anyone. Really, he's just trying to hide and wait for the perfect time to strike as Revan has retreated. Karzeka, though, going to take down Sir Boss. Now with that full hash control in the attacker in favor, it's going to be up to Enemy to either hit the flank perfectly, or it's going to be Empire running rough shot with control of the hatch above. Joystick has locked down any possible rotation from Armory as 2 defenders have retreated to the basement. Only 1 holding remaining upstairs. It is Enemy trying to attempt the flank. Coming into the office doorway, Joystick will claim another victim as Hungry will fall. The EOD locking down Enemy in the worst possible location. If anyone comes to that hallway, pre-aiming it, but no, the Lion of Shepard will walk away. A little distracted, Revan tacks on for 2. They're still down a man, but coming down those main stairs once again are the remaining attackers of Empire. Revan just being evaded from inside of the vent hallway, and Joystick, as he vaults in, will get downed. Diffuser down, 20 seconds remaining left. Trying to re-ascertain the control. Scyther's going to drop Enemy, so it's all up to Revan, who's made his way into supply. It's a 1v1 as Karzeka comes in, launching out the impact grenade. Revan, why the impact?
Unfortunate timing. A round that looked like it was going pretty heavily over to Empire and then slowly getting peeled back by Penta. I thought Penta had a shot at it, but the slow play of Empire that round, surprisingly out of character, but absolutely working. Enemy, though, definitely tried to turn that around, but the 2 of them just could not make it happen here. Just a lot of good plays by Penta, but unfortunately too little too late when you were down to just 2 men left. So they are now on match point, and this is looking very close to over. Whether or not Penta win this round, I think Empire are ready to take a break before they go into that best-of-3 finals.
The only thing really on Penta's side here is that they narrowly won their first Armory Lockers and Archives defense. Then they dominated on their Vent Workshop. So there is a chance here. If they can get this defense, it's looking positive as based on the way they've played Vent Work previously. It's looking like maybe there's a shot here that Penta can pull this out, but it all relies on this round, and 6 picking off the Echo to a smoke. We haven't really seen like a lot of smoke play so far this game other than Karzeka's 1 round really be all that impactful.
Well, Hungry is a good smoke, but why not have someone else on that Echo?
That's the thing. We've seen, especially in the last attack for Empire onto this objective, is a full office take to try and get into Archives. And the plant was coming down with less than 10 seconds left in the round, and Echo is a perfect operator to have in that position.
Yeah.
Also not bringing the pulse as they had last time, which was instrumental, like you said, grabbing the cover player instead of the planter.
Yeah, definitely the case where, they won this bomb site before, but they are making changes. Will those pay off? I'm not sure. Enemy really seemed to struggle a little bit. He did take advantage of Doc's stim pistols before, but he never was able to turn it into a kill or anything else. I would say he was as effective. I would almost say put Enemy on Echo, set up the drones in positions at least where you can do some good with them as intel gatherers, and then if you want to go frag out with an ACOG like you would with Doc, go ahead. But you're contributing way more to the team than these cheeky spawn peeks here. Unfortunately, though, does not get anything out of it. And again, he takes a little bit of damage. He's going to have to dock himself back up. But you got to question Enemy's choices with that here. Yeah, maybe it would have been good to get some initial kills right off the bat and kind of tilt Empire, but did not happen. Joystick going for his usual office push here. It looks like instead of the downstairs that he did previously, he's going to just try and set up pre-fire first and looking for anything that might impede his entry.
So Enemy once again is that Doc. He's got a sea of ADSs holding down support for him for any projectiles being launched in, whether they be frag grenades, stun canisters, stun grenades, whatever you want to launch his way. He's got a full complement of them protecting him until they get pushed to the wayside by the amount of utility being jumped in. But instead, Empire, look at them, 4 Musketeers all running on the balcony in unison to head over to the Armory wall. They have no interest in heading towards office, and Karzeka's just going to rush in with the sledgehammer. Enemy is going to grab 2 from behind the half wall as the EOD detonates, holding him in place. More flashbangs coming in, and these kill hole right on the left side of the reinforcement is helping Enemy with visibility towards anyone coming in, and Panix has picked up his ADSs and brought them over to the Armory wall. A great swap up there and deployment of the utilities, returning to his only ADS inside a fountain now. I
question that attack. I mean, we were seeing a nice slow attack from Empire again. Thought was a good thing, but they absolutely played it wrong. Karzeka thinking he could rush on in, take advantage of the fact that they were focusing their defense on offices. But Penta is way more flexible than they were expecting. And even to the point of, like you said, Panix rotating his ADSs over. They've also got the Evil Eye here to be able to catch this out. Empire are going to have to frag out hard to make this work, but they're at least going to start Scyther getting his kill on Revan.
Still had enemy in behind the half wall, Hungry peeking, and now enemy's right up against the reinforcement. The second EOD goes out, the stun canister coming in, a Toxic Babe and reciprocation from Hungry to repel any entry through the doorway. 50 seconds ticking down now as Joystick is off on his own doing his thing, trying to go for a flank, and there's not a lot of entry here. Enemy will take down Scyther as well up against the wall. You still have Shepard pressed up as well as Joystick repels on the sandwich window. Hungry and enemy grab 2 each, and it's over. Penta get the Armory Lockers defense. They push this to 1 more round until overtime if they can make it back on their Vent Workshop defense.
At least enemy made it work there at the end. Well done. Good defense. Again, good rotation to the other bomb site. Here you go. You see them all just moving over. Like, you could already see Panics running over before they even got to the doorway. Just the intel coming out from Penta, that's what won them that match. The foresight to make that rotation and knowing they were switching around. Well played. We'll see how they can do on Vents, though, because they're still on map at match point. But we're actually looking like there's a possibility of an overtime here.
Could be the first overtime of the entire weekend.
Yep.
In Milan. But again, it's going to be Penta's responsibility to come out victorious in this round just to push overtime. They're already down 5-4. They've been down quite a lot in this game. It's a tough position to be in, to always have to be battling out of, to always feel like you're on your back foot, to never feel like you're in control. And Penta have weathered the storm momentarily. It's only going to take 1 more to send us into overtime.
Yep, I mean, so far we're following a somewhat similar pattern. Empire won 3 defenses in a row before there was an attack win. Now so far, Penta won 2 in a row before there was an attack win, but then followed that up with another defensive round. So, yeah, showed similar ability to defend equally well. It's the attacks that are struggling by far from both teams, despite, as you said, Lion not being banned and being fully used. It is surprising to see that the attackers aren't at the advantage. So maybe the just stand still is working out here for both teams.
Same operator lineup for Empire, and I dogged on them yesterday for this. Their rigidity in their off lineup. They don't make any changes to the operators they bring. They bring the same 5 all the time. The depth on Empire, though, 6 kills for everyone except for 1, only coming in at 5. Big deal. It's a deep roster there on Empire, not any. And that's weird, actually. It should be Joystick leading the way, typically.
Well, it's the case where he wasn't getting a ton of the frags because you had a lot of the other players showing up. Scyther's actually been showing up, I think, a lot more in this match than we've seen in previous matches this weekend. So it just seems like, well, when Joystick's not hogging all the kills, the rest are more than willing to step it up.
Attempting to burn out all the ADSs once again, so they can't be picked up and moved. Concussion mines coming in. Karzeka going to be launching a frag grenade, trying to dispatch of the bandit of Sir Boss.
Oh.
That will down him. Joystick will clean it, but Panics will trade out Joystick immediately from inside of Archives. Not the worst trade to go for if you're Penta right there.
Absolutely, and there was a case where it didn't really need to be finished off by Joystick because there was another grenade follow-up coming from Karzeka. So unfortunately, just the wrong choice for Joystick as he exposed himself to Panics. But nonetheless, they are still slowly moving for control of these offices. But now everyone knows that's where they're going. Shock actually taking some nice pre-fires. That's going to force Panics off and all the way down to site to rotate around potentially up to metal.
The office hold not quite as successful as it was last time as they lose Sir Boss in the process, but still a 4v4. Hungry is staying upstairs, and I don't know if enemy's rocking the M1014 again. I imagine Empire will be expecting it. I can't really tell from here, and the sledge will open up the first castle barricade. Karzeka, there's still another one holding off, and the frag grenade will be utilized.
Oh no!
Not break open the castle barricade.
He can still sledge it though.
Still walk up with the hammer. It's exactly what it'll do. Rips it open, and now enemy with the M1014. Way more ammo this time than last time. And Panic's trying to provide some support with pre-fires through that soft wall to the bathroom hallway.
And doing a good job holding it off here because there's only 45 seconds left, and they've managed to find only the 1 kill that was pretty much just due to a grenade. Looking so far like enemy, despite that they know he's there, they're going to lock him down with the first of 2 EE1Ds though, and looks like a nice play by Karzeka is going to change things up. 30 seconds left though to make this push happen.
Shock with diffuser inside of bathroom. They're going to have to bank on Hungry, going for the rotation down to help. He's still above at the hatch. I think it's Shockwave or Shepard upstairs going for the search and destroy mission on the top floor, but Revan holding the bottom of the metal stairs. It's going to be up to Shockwave coming in. Panics with a great shot onto Karzeka. The retake here from Penta as they all rush forward. Revan will fall. Panics with 3, going for 4.
What?
Panics puts Penta into overtime.
I think Panics more describes the way Empire were playing at that point. Fantastic play by Panics, who not only got his job done upstairs, rotated downstairs, and played an aggressive Jaeger that would make Joystick proud. Well done, that just rush with the knife at the end. Definitely a good round for Panics. Not that the rest of the team didn't contribute, but holy moly. That is definitely going to be interesting here, and it's exactly how I called it. I think we're going to get a tactical timeout right at the overtime mark. So I'm 2 for 2 on calling these tac timeouts this matchup.
4-1 split for the defense on each side.
Yeah.
8-2 for the defense.
This is one of those ones where you fear the coin flip.
You do. You really do fear the coin flip. And the most shocking thing to me about all that is that Lion has not been banned, and yet it is a 8-2 lead for defense.
Yeah.
Empire do take the tac timeout. We have that confirmed. So
yeah, this is where they think, what happened? We were doing so good. Just the case where it just seems to be their attacks are getting repelled a lot more than they would have expected. And you start to see a little bit of confusion mid-round where they don't seem to know how to adapt to the way that Penta are playing it. So Penta definitely doing a good job of what they were talking about earlier, making their enemy uncomfortable in the way that they're playing it, but they're seeming to be doing that on defense far more than they were on attack. So coin flip could go to either side here in terms of who is going to start on defense, because, well, that's the advantageous position if the last 10 rounds are in the indicator, because they have the potential to take 2 of the 3 overtime rounds.
This was trending in the way of a very quick game, but instead we will now have the longest match of the entire weekend so far.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's well-fitting, though, because this is the lead-up to the actual grand finals, and the way it's playing out, it almost feels like a finals in of itself, but it's only going to be 1 map.
Only 3 rounds left remaining, and it could only be 2 if one side decide to pick up both rounds in a row. We'll be done at a 7-5 scoreline, but I have a feeling this is going all the way to a 7-6.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, although that depends on whether or not Penta will be able to win their attack after potentially winning their defense here.
They do draw the defense, will Penta, as they'll head to Armory Lockers and Archives. And this office setup with enemy and Panics, I think, has been seen so many times now that Empire might be able to dismantle it. We just saw last time on that Vandalation Workshop hold, the mirror image of the office defense still topside got taken apart a little bit quicker and with more success by Empire. So the more times they run through this, the better they're getting at it. This could be risky here for Penta.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, this is what you want to be doing. This is the bomb site you want to be playing, because the other ones are at a bit more of a disadvantage. Like you said, Empire have been working on it. Maybe they've got it figured out. We'll see. Probably not going to see Karzeka run up with the sledgehammer and open the door again. Ooh, nice attempt from enemy who's playing that dock again. Like I said, though, I feel like he would be better off bringing that Echo so they would have one, you know, for those last-minute clutch attempts. But either way, he hasn't been doing the worst on dock so far.
No, and the Pulse gets brought back out by Revan now. So they went it once with Pulse, they went once without him.
So we know it can work, and it also isn't necessary.
Exactly. And this unreinforced wall on Armory as well. Very peculiar, but Penta have been running it non-stop so far on their Armory defenses.
It's worked every time.
Even on their customs defense, they didn't reinforce the wall for their 3 defenders that were playing inside of Armory. Ash Charge is coming out from Joystick. He's just trying to level anyone from behind half wall, push them out, and it's still enemy playing this dangerous position. He's going to go and try and engage Joystick on the peak. EOD comes out, but Joystick wins out. Bad peek there from enemy, but he was locked in place and had no choice else but to fight.
Well, I mean, I don't think he needed to take that fight. He probably could have moved off of it, yeah, like you said. Didn't feel like he had a choice about corner there, but Joystick wins those.
That's what Joystick does, and this is more of what we expected to see from him, and I'm sure on Empire's defensive term we'll see him on the Jaeger and having a huge impact. But early on, midway through the round, we are in a 5-4 advantage for Team Empire as they try to assault this Armory wall. They have no interest in heading over to offices. Last time they did this, they tried to absolutely blitzkrieg in through the A wall, and it did not work out for them. This time, a very quiet repel from the joystick will make his presence known as he rips open the wall and is afraid of anyone going for the vault out on AC.
This is definitely going to keep them a little bit more busy inside the small office. They're having to watch the sandwich as well, but 2 of them stacked up in there with the pulse to call out when to peak. This should be interesting. We do see potential run out here from Panics. The timing needs to be perfect, but Joystick's life could be ending shortly here as they depend on the EE1D to save his life. It doesn't happen. Panics, well played, well timed.
The plant going down by Shockwave as Karzeka is covering. He's going for the vault all the way in behind the half wall and makes it into his teammates' asphyxiating bolt. The plant is completed against the A wall, and this is a perfect position for Karzeka. The revive being pulled off as Revan will get put back to 50 inside of the small office. It's a 4v5, and it looks like Sir Boss is going for a long flank to CCTV. Shepard will try and repel him as it's doubled up. Panics and Sir Boss and Revan all going for the flank. It's just Hungry. Shepard will gun down 1, gun down 2, gun down 3. They all fall. Penta drop like dominoes. Empire on match point.
What a play from Shepard. I would say he's one of those you don't expect to show up that often because he hasn't had a lot of kills, but my goodness, 3 in a row like that, what a devastating blow. And that's winning the attack now. That puts Empire in the driver's seat. It pretty much kicks Penta right out of the passenger seat.
6-5 lead, match point to get into the grand finals against the Vodafone Giants, the Spaniard champions. It'll either be the French or the Russians, and we've seen Penta battle back this entire game. This is not a new position for them, being down. I think that was, other than 0-0, that was the first time this game was tied.
Yeah, it's definitely a case where Penta have been able to claw it back enough to at least get to overtime. Will we see them claw this back? You said this is a potential 7-6, but with the situation the way it is in terms of who's winning attack versus defense, Empire is at such an advantage. It'll be difficult. Shepard is bringing out that clash again, something they've struggled to deal with, but Panics is also bringing out Capitao again. So hopefully Shepard won't put himself at a quarter behind half wall again, because that was pretty much what got him dead.
Shepard's immediate aggression on the first defense, the very first round of this game, feels like a very long time ago now. Right. But inside of Fountain, Shepard was a massive nuisance, a pain for Penta to deal with, and then the second time around, Panics dispatched of him with ease. Just 2 asphyxiating bolts, lock him in the corner behind half wall, and say goodnight.
Well, we'll see if he gets that opportunity as they set up. They're going to be a little more prepared for this time. They've got the Echo and the Smoke as well as Meister to help. Joystick doing his thing on Jaeger. So a pretty good lineup here from Team Empire on defense, with the attackers also with a good lineup. We're talking about how line hasn't seemed to be as effective as we would think. They're still going to keep bringing it though. When you got it, you got to use it.
Pretty effective on the last round, locking everyone in place and allowing Karzeka to sneak in. And yeah, and Panics just kind of going for that run there. I mean, there was no one else to trade him, though. He knew that Joystick was alone. To
be fair, that did allow Karzeka to get in for the plant. That was really the most important part. I mean, yeah, Joystick died because of it, but at the same time, yeah, overall, it was really worth it. Worth trading Joystick for the plant going down. He is getting dangerously close to fighting someone, though.
Yeah, speaking of Joystick's location, he's going to get droned out right away by Revan, who's holding that front door. Looked like he was trying to use the IQ sensor to take anything off the wall. There's nothing placed. An enemy will pop that with a thermite charge easily. Still only a minute elapsed in the round, and it's still a 5v5. Penta, again, trying to replicate what Empire just had with the success of rushing into that A wall and getting the plant down. The biggest problem will be Shepard on the clash and Scyther's Echo play. Yeah,
now, Shepard is a little bit farther away this time. Joystick also has taken a bit of damage, so outside of time management, so far Penta at the advantage on this attack. Joystick looking to trade it out, does give his position away. Unfortunately, Revan isn't able to capitalize on it. So this is going to be a lot of cat and mouse here, both with Revan and Joystick, as well as Shepard and Panics.
Flashbang being launched in, caught by the ADSs, and more droning now as Penta slow but sure and making decent progress on this A wall, burning out the utility, acquiring locations and lots of pings on the defenders stacked up outside of the small office in the locker sandwich. And he's got Evil Eyes and Yokai drones and a Clash shield to deal with, and now Joystick has gone for the rotate up these stairs, and he's going to come back to site. It's going to be a 5v5 bloodbath inside the objective.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like it's going to come down to gun battles. And honestly, I feel like Empire wins those more often than Penta, so they need to find some early frags to get man advantage. But good luck trying to take down Shepard. He's playing it much smarter this time. So we did see them even try and knock his shield off with one of the Zofia lifelines. It wasn't enough because they didn't follow it up. and even a little bit of damage there from Panics. They're trying their best to take out Shepard. He's not having it.
Evil Eye will, or it's not the Evil Eye, the Yokai will get in place now as Asphyxiating Bolt again going to launch out and hold Shepard in place with the EOD holding Joystick though inside of Archives while being detected will take down Hungry on his flank. The Yokai going to try and stop the plant momentarily. Second EOD coming out now, and Echo Drone just firing away. Revan looking skyward forward. Shepard finally locates Revan. The plant gets completed, but Scyther with another one. The Empire going to try and flood back into the objectives. They all swarm the man behind the half wall. Shockwave with another. Surboss going for a long flank, leaving Panics alone to cover the diffuser as it's ticking down. It's behind the half wall, and Panics is just launching stun grenades flawlessly. They're all coming in and trying to stick the defuse. He grabs one, more detected, grabs two, gets down, and Scyther is going to be able to go for the defuse here. Surboss, no, takes down Scyther, rushing in towards the diffuser. Bullets going back and forth wildly. It's a fray on the ground. The shotgun from Karzeka will end it. Empire headed to the grand finals.
That was a hell of a final round. That's what you want to see when it's the last round between these two. Fantastic play by both teams on that. Panic's almost clutching it out. Surboss almost clutching it out. But the tenacity of Empire will not be stopped. They managed to just shut that down. A great attempt by both. I gotta say, Penta absolutely did not give up despite being at the disadvantage so many times. They definitely are gonna make Empire really a little nervous going into this final one, especially the way Vodafone and Giants have been playing. But it is a nice rematch going into it. Well played by Penta. So surprising to see the Pro League team not managing to make it all the way to the finals, but it was damn close.
That was easily the most competitive game we've seen all weekend.
Yeah.
I think that can be said without a doubt. Empire take the win 7-5, and as we said, the first overtime game we've seen in Milan all weekend comes down to the loser bracket final against the two juggernauts everyone anticipated being in the grand final. Not just the loser bracket final, the grand final. And God, what I would pay to see a best of 3 between those two teams. But it'll be Empire up against the Vodafone Giants of Spain.
Unfortunately, it's the Thunderdome here. 2 teams enter, 1 team leaves. Not going to get to see them in the finals, but I still think Empire versus Giants is going to be a real crackerjack of a game. So they should be at least very, very competitive because of what they've showed so far, especially against each other earlier on.
Yeah, and I imagine when you're in a best of 3, you only have a couple bans, so you're really